I'm Rob Kircher, and welcome to our 1905 Cottage Restoration. As you know, this is an ongoing series of episodes with my wife Barbara and I restoring this diamond in the rough behind me. Undoubtedly, you'll also know that we haven't uploaded a new episode in quite a while. In fact, it hasn't been since August 22nd of last year with episode 19. Well, the reason was I had open heart surgery to repair 2 valves and a number of other things. Long story short, I feel great and I'm so happy to be back doing what I love. Now, along the way, we have made lots of improvements to this cozy little cottage with many more still to come. There are plumbing problems, electrical problems, insulation problems, and a myriad of other problems still hidden within her walls. And trust me, folks, they are there. So, call us crazy, and we probably are, but we believe that we can turn this baby into an absolute showstopper. So stay with us as we spend time, money, and effort transforming this old cottage into an incredible, incredible restoration. Today I'm starting a new project in our Heirloom Custom Toys workshop. In fact, this is the first job I'm going to be doing in this new workshop. And I must tell you, I think I have used literally every single square inch of wall and even ceiling space for various tools and so on that I need to do projects. And the problem is I have lots and lots of tools. And there's even more tools that I haven't even begun to put in here. But I'm kind of digressing. But to give you an idea of what's going on, this is a 24-inch television screen. And I'm hooking up Roku to it. So I'll be able to watch our favorite shows as well as the shows that we do for Heirloom Custom Toys and for our 1905 cottage. And I have a CD, AM, FM radio, which I love, and it kind of goes around. There's a weather station behind you, which tells me exactly what the temperature is and what the forecast is and so on. So it's kind of styling. All right, back to the project. Today I'm going to be building a table. It's a Lazy Susan table for a project that I did for a very nice woman. I did a replica home for her. Hello, I'm Rob Kircher, and welcome to Heirloom Custom Toys. This is episode 4. It's actually the finale of our replica build of a 1953 Cape Cod house that is our client's granny's house. So it's a replica. And as we know with replicas, there are no instructions, there's no directions. All we started off with, frankly, which was extremely helpful, was a grid that our client sent me that had, from her memory, the actual sizes of the rooms and where they were in the house. And that basically was it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this table is big. Essentially, it's 4 feet by 5 feet. It's the biggest Lazy Susan table I've ever made before. And one of the problems is, once I build it in this workshop, which is relatively small, am I going to be able to get it out the door? So I'm going to be building the legs first, and then frankly the rest of it I'm going to be building at my neighbor's garage because I won't be able to get it out this door. Now, the first step in building my unique Lazy Susan turntable, I say unique because it's unique to Heirloom Custom Toys. And it's also unique because I designed it specifically for the dollhouses that we create and the play barns that we create, and quite frankly, for anybody's precious collectible that they may want to have a Lazy Susan turntable. Now, the first thing you do is to design the legs. And what do I mean by that? Well, the legs are tapered, so where does the taper start and end? Where does the first and second shelf start and end? And where does the top come on? Okay, I've gone ahead and cut out the blanks for the replica Lazy Susan turntable just to make life easier, and also because you have to make sure that when the table is assembled that is absolutely flat, perfect, and a square, and that's the purpose of ganging them, because that assures you of that end result. Okay, you begin by running a bead of glue along the edge here, and that's where the smaller part of the leg gets attached to the larger part, like so. I typically will run about 4 or 5 brads in each leg, just to make sure that it's perfectly secured, like that as an example. I'm going to let them dry overnight, and then we'll give them a good sanding, and the next step will be the assembly. So you want to hang around and watch that happen, because it's going to be pretty cool. What you're looking at is the top of our Lazy Susan table, but in reality it's actually the bottom. So what do I mean by that? Well, in order to have the turntable work, you have to have 2 pieces of plywood with a bearing in the middle, and this is the bearing. It's a 24-inch Rockler bearing, and it's huge. I don't think they make one actually any bigger than this, but this is required because of just the overall size and weight of our replica home. And what you do is you find the exact center of the bearing and draw pilot holes, so you know exactly where this thing is going to be, and then you screw that down. But you also want to be able to create the holes for the top shelf, if you will, to be applied. And you do that by drilling from underneath with like a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more, maybe 3/8 inch spade bit, and so then you can screw from the bottom up into the top of the table, and it'll look fantastic. Okay, since last night I got up this morning and I sanded the 4 legs, and I paired them. For example, these are the front left, front right, and the rear right and rear left. And the insides are marked for the various shelves, and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm doing now. The first thing I'm going to do, and this is a big table, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is cut out the shelves, and then I'm going to glue and I'm going to brad them to the legs, and that's going to give me the basic structure. And then from there I'm going to build the sides and so on and so forth. So let's start by cutting this 3/4 inch plywood, and it's good both sides. It's birch laminate, very nice plywood. It's going to give us a very nice painted finish, and I'm going to cut it to length. And so the first length I'm going to cut is basically the cut for the shelves, and that is going to be 42 inches. Here's where I am thus far with our neighborhood book lending library. Thus far with our neighborhood book lending library. The last thing I did was to put the door in, and this was a pretty simple process, just creating that frame. But what I did is I ran it through a little groove through my table saw, just wide enough to fit a piece of plexiglass in here, so it fits very securely, and I'm happy with that. Now inside, I'll show you a close-up. There's 2 compartments. This lower part is for the larger books, and up here is going to be for like paperbacks and so on and so forth. Now the next big project is going to be, how am I going to secure this? Now what I did is I took some 2x6s and built this bottom structure, and I'm trying to think how I'm going to make this as secure as possible. This mic cord always gets in the way. So what I did is I took a piece of 4x4, which is really 3.5 by 3.5, and I traced it. And now what I'm going to take is my jigsaw, and I'm going to cut this out. So then I'm going to take the actual 4x4 and slide it all the way through until it kisses this. And then from the inside down, I'm going to secure with some very strong deck screws, if you will, probably 4 of them. So the whole idea is that when it's completed, I'll have 4 feet of 4x4 above the ground, so the bottom of this will come like waist high, and then 2 feet are going to be buried into the ground. Now to stabilize it even more, I'm going to take 2 pieces of 2x4s, and I'm going to, on an angle, brace it this way and then lag bolt it in. So it should be pretty strong. Okay, so there's the 4x4 cutout, and what I'm going to do now is slide it in, and hopefully everything fits. Well, I'm just starting to put the accent color in, this blue. I've gone ahead and put white on all the trim. So in the middle of this space here will be blue, the middle of this space will be blue, the door is opening up, that's our ghost, and along this side will be blue, and so on and so forth. And then down here is the beginning of the structural part of this thing, which is actually going to support the heavy library, and so that's going to be blue. Now leaning against a tree, I don't know if you can see it over there, but that is the 4x4 that I was working on yesterday, and that's going to come right up through the middle of this thing, and then that's an interesting coral color, which I love. It's going to be kind of happy looking, if you will. I want people, because books are such a wonderful gift, and it all takes us on various journeys throughout our life, and it needed to be something that was just fun and playful, if you will. So we like the coral. So you know what, we're getting very close to the finishing line here, and by the end of the day today it will be painted, and I'll give you the last minute look to it, and then tomorrow it gets loaded into our car and it gets off to our son and daughter-in-law and grandchildren who live on Cayuga Lake in a little community that has just a nest of homes. So this would be a perfect setting for the neighborhood library. Barb and I lived in the Naples, Bonita Springs area of Southwest Florida for 24 years before we decided to come back to upstate New York. We had previously owned a home in the small little hamlet of Pulteneyville, about 20 miles east of here on Lake Ontario, and then we restored our home in Bonita Springs. So this is our third home as far as a restoration is concerned, and by far it is, I think, the one closest to our heart. It is just an amazing home. It's our 1905 cottage, and it is a cottage. It was built as a cottage. It wasn't built as a house, and so for many years people just kind of did the weekend warrior thing, and we absolutely love it. Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 20 and reconnecting as much as I have. Coming up in episode 21, we'll be looking up to our second floor, that is. Yep, we'll be reviewing all the things that we want to restore, including the beautiful old wainscoted walls and gorgeous, gorgeous pine floors. You won't want to miss that episode. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. As always, folks, it is most appreciated. Thank you so much.